Here to say, I don't know. Who's
the Movie Club movies.
Tonight's feature, 1999, Ghost Dog, one of the most suggested movies. Justin here, driving the big rig that is TMCMS podcast. We're continuing with the theme of toxic masculinity, but we're also turning around the corner into pets and dogs and cats and such. Animals, but we're not there fully just yet. But this episode is definitely going that direction. We're getting out of this negative theme, but we're continuing a bit more with this selection. Also, remember, this is Justin. I'm on the CB while I take you through this episode. Also here to let you know, beware of dogs and ghosts. Justin, signing off.
The Movie Club movies. Before we begin, I'd like to hear about someone who may have a better opinion on the movies from Jim Jarmusch. For tonight's movie, I pulled a clip. Honorary Movie Club movies friend, Winona Ryder, picking out movies, The Criterion Closet.
GHOSTDOG by the brilliant Jim Jarmusch. I love every single movie he's made, every frame of every movie he's made. He's actually he's one of my favorite people. Jim has this ability to get subtlety that really works in all of his films, but I really do love this one.
Thanks, Winona. Tonight's feature, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, 1999. Tonight's feature is a movie that eluded me for many years, and it might have been said in past episodes that Ghost Dog is similar to the band Dinosaur Jr. I knew of this band. I knew of this movie. I saw the VHS. The movie was around. I just didn't get my hands on it. I didn't get to see it for myself. This one just slipped through my life for a long time. And it was constantly a big suggestion from other people. And even then, it was tough for me to find it. And this was definitely before things like streaming were super involved and plugged in, diving into what's so great because I know so much about this movie without seeing much of it. I do know that RZA is on the soundtrack, and at the time of release of this movie, I definitely was very much into RZA, Wu-Tang, all types of hip-hop. I also have always been a fan of Forrest Whitaker, and a long time ago, things like Bloodsport were really great to watch and rediscover this accomplished actor in a very young, these very young roles. And now we've got him in his own spotlight, and I really enjoy that about this movie. This movie by Jim Jarmusch reminds me of David Lynch and Luc Besson. Luc Besson from La Femme Nikita, 1990, and Leon the Professional, 1994. In 1999, Luc Besson had released The Messenger, the story of Joan Arc, with Mila Jovovich. Lynch released The Straight Story, close to 99. It's about a man who drives his lawnmower from a small town in Wisconsin to visit his ailing brother, I think close to California, so quite a drive to do in a lawnmower. Blank Check just covered this in a great episode, along with their series on David Lynch, just to note. Also, JJ was producing The Suburbans, a movie made in 1999, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt and Will Ferrell. The director of this movie only did another movie in 2018 with Jeannie Triplehorn. 1999. Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai. Plywood Productions. This movie is rated R. At my region of libraries, 3 copies, 1 is available. Stunts by Norman Douglas from Goodfellas, The Professional, and Dirty Dancing. Manny Cervero, The Professional, Royal Tenenbaums, along with Jeff Ward from Blade, Hellboy, and Die Hard. Tonight's cast, like I said, it's directed by Jim Jarmusch, a very popular independent director, a very popular director among people who appreciate real film with tooth, independent film with soundtrack, and maybe even some grit. And also, I do think he takes some chances. A movie like Dead Man has come up a lot in movie club movie screenings, movie club movie conversations, and a friend of the movie club movies who would lend us our space to screen movies really enjoyed Jim Jarmusch movies. Shout out to 440. Stranger Than Paradise is definitely one of his first big breakout movies. Also, Down by Law, which is a major film for him and a lot of people's favorites. Criterion summarized it with the following: followed up his brilliant breakout from Stranger Than Paradise with another equally beloved portrait of loners and misfits in the American landscape. When fate brings together three hapless men, an unemployed disc jockey, Tom Waits, a small-time pimp, John Lurie, and a strong-willed Italian tourist, Roberto Benigni, in a Louisiana prison, a singular adventure ensues, described by Jarmusch as neo-beat noir, comedy. Down by Law is part nightmare and part fairy tale. That's from Criterion. I think that's a well done summary of someone's movie. I haven't seen that. The cast alone says a lot. And Dead Man, 1995, starring Johnny Depp. It's a tough movie to get through because it puts me to sleep. However, it is very enjoyable. Maybe it's just a movie you gotta take in pieces. Also, Broken Flowers from 2005, starring Bill Murray. Also, Limits of Control from 2009. These are mainstream sampling of his works, which is worth exploring deeper than we will here. He is an artistic visionary, and again, he has some unique films and choices. Jim Jarmusch, the director of tonight's film. Starring Forrest Whitaker, listing some of his most fun movies or well-referenced gems for watch suggestions. However, he has worked his way through everything in Hollywood. As a viewer, I have had a group of choices of his to watch and enjoy. I'm trying my best to make some selections out of the things I've experienced, and I definitely encourage you all to use Letterboxd or search your searching to look up his works on your own and find what you like. Here's a few: Fast Times, Bloodsport, Good Morning Vietnam, Arrival, Sorry to Bother You, Species, Johnny Handsome 1989, that was directed by Walter Hill. Forrest Whitaker directed the movie First Daughter with Katie Holmes, Michael Keaton, and Leela Roshan, which was a surprising title to find out, but that's what I enjoy. So check out First Daughter. It's directed by Forrest Whitaker. The Last King of Scotland from 1998 was adapted from English journalist Giles Foden's novel of the same title. It is about Idi Amin, the subject, which focuses on Idi Amin's Uganda through the eyes of a young Scottish physician. In 2006, the movie was released, where Amin is portrayed by Forrest Whitaker. Whitaker won the Best Leading Actor award for this role at the Academy Awards. Tricia Vessey, from Trouble Every Day, 2001, Claire Denis directed Vincent Gallo movie. Trouble Every Day is like a movie about, I think, vampires, and it's definitely one that was being made around the same time as Let the Right One In was being talked about, and it was definitely just an indie small film that I sought out because I liked Vincent Gallo at one point in my life, and as time is showing all of us, some of our favorite artists can be worked around. But also, actress Tricia Vessey is in Bean 1997, which is Mr. Bean. Shout out to Mr. Bean. Kiss the Girls, Town and Country 2001. Johnny Depp directed the Brave, and even more interesting, 1997, The Alarmist, with David Arquette, Stanley Tucci, Ryan Reynolds, Kate Capshaw, who's Indiana Jones, Black Rain, and Steven Spielberg's wife. That movie sounds worth checking out. The Alarmist from 1997, along with Tricia Vessey, our actress in this movie. Isaach De Bankolé plays our ice cream man, a very interesting personality. I knew him from The Limits of Control from 2009, and he's in a few of Jim Jarmusch's movies. Henry Silva is also in tonight's movie. He is from 1960 heist film Ocean's 11. Cliff Gorman as a guy who looks like Eric Roberts. He's in a movie called Sunny. RZA, like I said, is on the soundtrack, producing and putting that together. We know him from the Wu-Tang, but movie-wise, Kill Bill, Blade Trinity, Afro Samurai, which is a favorite of mine. I overwatched, I think, the first volume of Afro Samurai DVD. I had to get rid of it. I watched it too much, which is so funny to me. Man with the Iron Fists, Roxanne, which looks like an interesting film. Lead actress has been in The Photograph and a few other movies worth watching. Shantae Adams. And I think that movie, Roxanne, is either being delayed or is coming out or is on a streamer I don't have access to. But I just found that out through this research today, passing that on to you. Wu-Tang also joins the comedy world and Apatow's Funny People and Jarmusch's Coffee and Cigarettes 2003. Are you guys ready to move on to tonight's movie? Let's get into tonight's episode. $1999, looking like 1992. Is this San Francisco? Is this Bay Area? The camera starts us off from a distance, a bird's eye view of the industrial backwoods of a small city. In comparison to Blues Brothers and Blade Runner, this view is from an upright angle, an angle we saw in Game Night, dwarfing the cars and storefronts to seemingly model size. Dinner for Schmucks mouse model sized. I'm referencing Blues Brothers and Blade Runner, and shout out to Elle. I've had this discussion with her directly, and it was one of these moments in my life where I've always thought of these things, and I was like, Elle, I gotta tell you about this. That idea was the beginning of Blues Brothers is a shot of Detroit industry, smokestacks. Blade Runner is also an establishing shot of what would be the future world, the future city, and it's also fiery smokestack at one instance. But then I will put us on to this movie. Less fiery stacks, but we are moving into an urban environment, and I think we're kind of starting from an industrial point of view. I'm just throwing that out there. I also just want to mention Elle had a creative music video where she used one or two of those shots, and it was after talking to her. She had already sent me that video a year or two before this conversation happened, and it was like I went back and looked at this video on a day I wanted to listen to her music. I was like, Elle, you know what I'm talking about. You used that clip in your music video. Just check it out. The fiery, smoky stacks of the industrial point of view at the beginning of Blues Brothers and at the beginning of Blade Runner.
I don't know, for years and years and years, and is a bit of an origin seed to not only the Movie Club movies, but the Movie Club Movies podcast, TMCMS, right here. Shout out to Elle, thanks to Elle, and all you friends.
The music is low. It's chill. The music that plays under the movie is slow and steady, and will continue throughout the story. I'm watching an original VHS copy, and the texture of that format is adding to warm and tone the tones. Atmospheric. The credits are simple. Spray and marker graffiti, handwritten, retraced in red from an urban journal notebook. Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. All the way over, with the view of a bird, to rooftops, overtaken by birds, pigeons, and windows, to one window, to a cozy interior, a study, a den, perhaps. Birds are on a windowsill, and Forrest Whitaker is seen sitting, reading. Hagukure. Forrest Whitaker is reading. Forrest Whitaker does narration. And Forrest Whitaker will let us know about the way of the samurai through these narrations. Forrest Whitaker narrates. The way of the samurai is found in death. Meditation on an inevitable death should be performed daily, every day, when one's body and mind are at peace. I'm going to add my own moment of advice as the TMCMS podcast rolls through this episode. I'm going to be giving advice on what to do if a ghost or haunting is happening in your house or place of residence. The way of the movie club movies, which is the way of ghost and the way of dog. The way of bongo dogs. TMCMS podcast says, do your best to remain calm and do not make contact. If you see a ghost in your residence, find a sheet big enough for your bed and put it over your head and let it cover your body, top down. And remain still. They cannot see you if you don't move. A table has guns and various radio parts, and a small statue and candle. Candles, pigeons, and books seem to be a theme. Of course, our character here is well read, seems to be well kept, including a kitchen which is stocked with vintage appliances. Everything has a layer of dust, like an early copy of Paul's Boutique from Beastie Boys. Also, if J.J. Abrams uses glare to shine on a layer of his films, Jim Jarmusch uses a similar lens flower for dust, a lens powdering, a sprinkling of vinyl record crackles. His movie Dead Man, he shot in black and white, adding that Super 8 has Bruce Greenwood. Newsprint surrounds a framed photo on one wall, and another statue stands alone, flanked by tea lights as an almost bare, modest shrine or tribute. Warriors of the past? Samurai? Forrest Whitaker continues narration. Thoughts of being ripped apart by arrows, rifles, spears, and swords, being carried away by waves, struck by lightning, being shaken to death by a great earthquake, falling 1,000-foot cliffs, dying of disease or committing seppuku at the death of one's master. And every day, without fail, one should consider himself as dead. This is the substance of the way of the samurai.
And a symbol crest seems to be a signature. It is also on the title.
TMCMS says, your dog needs two things, food and water. Your love is an added extra, a bonus, and dogs love bonuses. Forrest Whitaker quietly leaves his modest house and waves to his pigeons in their coop. Ghost Dog, the way of the samurai. A beat kicks in, which would be worthy of the first few tricks on a skate tape, the beginnings of a long-form skate video. Walking past a city neighborhood of storefronts, he passes people working, throwing out garbage, leaving a bar for the night. He sees a dark car and focuses in. He is hidden by the parking spot and opens his bag and pulls out a remote with a red light. This device opens the car door with a whir and then quietly, steadily gets into the driver's seat and starts the car with the same remote. The car comes alive, first electrically, and then by starting the engine. So he's got some Avengers level tech here, and he drives away. A police car is passing the opposite way. I could not read the license plate, and it may be a blank label. We see his latex glove hand shift into gear. He places a CD into the car's stereo. The beat knocks. It's simple. It's independent, stripped down production. Is it local? It's hip-hop, folk music for Ghost Dog. Like brown mustard, relish, and pineapple for bongo dogs. The lyrics are important and informing us of his story, our story, the story of ancient people, only through time still walk among us, and ourselves if you think deep enough. What goes down comes back around again. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. It is bad when one thing becomes two. One should not look for anything else in the way of the samurai. It is the same for anything else that is called a way. If one understands things in this manner, he should be able to hear about all ways and be more and more in accord with his own. TMCMS says, ghosts cannot go through walls. That is a myth. What is true is that they can go through refrigerators. Residents of Pennsylvania reported record high numbers of sightings of ghosts clearing out fully stocked fridges, smoking pot on the couch, and dating their daughters at an alarming rate. A frame of silent half moon in near sky. A man backed by glowing aquariums is looking up. It's a Chinese restaurant. Two men intend on making a financial transaction. The guy who looks like Eric Roberts says he will pay the rest tomorrow. A look of disappointment. They close a door, and Ghost Dog has rolled up to a gated house. It's not expansive, it's just gated from the street, entrance driveway. And Ghost Dog is in the car, bringing up a walkie-talkie device, listening in on two wise guys. One wise guy is mentioning to the other, stop messing around with the boss's daughter. And the other guy is saying, we shouldn't be talking on the line. I don't care, that girl's important to him. Don't go messing around. Ghost Dog hangs up the device and gets a pistol with silencer attached. Reggie Watts put out a stand-up that included him explaining that a silencer is not a real device and would not work like in the movies. A good stand-up album worth mentioning. It's on the album where it's his illustrated portrait. There's a moment in that stand-up where he talks about silencers, and I think he speaks in a British accent when he's doing it. Very funny moment. One of my favorite stand-up clips. A room of coffee-sipping silent mobsters sit at a table. In the center, a mobster that was in and looks like a Dick Tracy villain. Dick Tracy, trending on recent podcast eps, seems to be in the conversation as everything does come back to comic books and early feature lengths. Henry Silva also is in Code of Silence, the original Manchurian Candidate, and a villain named Influence in Dick Tracy. He stays seated. The Eric Roberts looking guy takes the moon watching guy for a walk. Forget about it. It's going to happen tonight. I have my special guy working on it. The girl is on a bus out of town. I feel bad about it. He's a good soldier. Something mob guys sometimes call those working with them soldiers. I don't know. It's odd. Handsome Frank fucked up. They continue. They circle back to the wall of aquariums. We're 13 minutes into the movie. Tricia Vessey is sitting in a bedroom chair wearing an electric orange dress. This may be a nice hotel. This may be pajamas. Betty Boop cartoon is playing on an embarrassingly small TV, similar to Natalie Portman's family watching Transformers in the early minutes of The Professional. This guy Handsome Frank is fixed on watching this outdated little cartoon, not to truly knock Boop, but he is not paying any attention to anybody or thing in the room. This guy tells her, Louise, to have some more wine. She doesn't want more wine, and the TV sound cuts out. Is that because he's an abusive guy and he's turned off the TV showing her he's coming to smack her next? Because she then chugs the glass and drops a book, Razmomon. Razmomon is a short story by Akutagawa Ryu no Suke, based on tales from the Kon Jaku Mono Gator Rishu. A man considering whether or not to become a thief meets a woman stealing hair from corpses. Their conversation explores the morality of theft. And that's from Goodreads, but that's the book she is reading, and it's worth noting. Tricia Vessey, playing Louise Vargo, looks great. She's holding herself with the posture of Raquel Tyrell from Blade Runner 82. Or was it Ghost Dog shooting the sound off? When he turned off that TV, did Ghost Dog shoot it off? Or did this abusive macho boyfriend shut it off? Handsome Frank is sitting in his boxers, slouchy but squared up to the camera. It's Ghost Dog. What do you want? My watch? 14 minutes into the movie. With a glowing red light between the two white latex hands gripping a pistol, Ghost Dog takes this guy out, with a slight breeze to Louise. She asks, "Did my father send you to do this?" Silently, Ghost picks up her book and tells her, "It's good. Ancient Japan was a strange place. You can have it when I'm done reading." Forrest Whitaker continues narration. If one were to say in a word what the condition of being a samurai is, its basis lies first in seriously devoting one's body and soul to his master. Not to forget one's master is the most fundamental thing for a retainer. TMCMS says, "Wear high socks if you know you will be around a horny dog. If the humps remain low, you will thank me for the heads up." Louis, who works for Sunny and Vargo, is at a desk. Vargo has sent out a messenger pigeon, and this is very important. Louis doesn't want to fuck it up. Louis is Ghost Dog's friend, and Louise is Handsome Frank's girlfriend, but is the boss's daughter. Handsome Frank just got taken out by Ghost Dog, and Louis is trying to play a balancing act between Ghost Dog and the boss. He is trying to write small on this small note to put on the bird, and it just says, "Received your message. We have a big problem." That's just what the little note says. Vin, played by Victor Argo, a Scorsese go-to, he is also in Desperately Seeking Susan, is doing a good job of trying to catch the bird in the background. So there's a few guys in the room, and believe me, I got their names confused throughout this whole watch. Vin does catch the bird, and they reply and send the bird off into the window, and a banger drops. 17-ish minutes into the movie. The bird that was sent out has arrived at Ghost Dog's, and it is such a good flying bird. It's like dropping down to land on the patio or roof-like structure with the bird coop, and most importantly, Ghost Dog is napping with Louise's book, and he envisions more scenes of the movie, and unfortunately, we have foreshadowed his mortal death. This bird does a really good job of flying to give him the message, which is, you took out Handsome Frank, and we have a problem, is really what that message means now that it's coming back to me. Ghost Dog is having a nap, and he sees a vision of his own death. He continues to sleep or meditate, whatever he's doing there. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. It is a good viewpoint to see the world as a dream. When you have something like a nightmare, you will wake up and tell yourself, that it was only a dream. It is said that the world we live in is not a bit different from this. The Movie Club Movies says, scolding a ghost or locking a ghost out of your room is only delaying the communication needed to patch up a choppy relationship. Popping popcorn after fighting frightens ghosts away. Be sure to watch scary movies only after you've decided you are over it with your ghost. Although it is still daylight, Ghost Dog's world seems dark, and he had his eyes closed, and the narration had text in a black card on screen. But this scene is dust gray outside, and he is opening the pigeon coop. Another banger beat is released. He whistles, and they are flying out. Ghost Dog looks happy and is smiling. These are birds to be proud of. He's waving a red flag for a moment. Possibly he's commanding them or directing his pigeons. And it's a really sweet scene. He's up from his nap and he is taking care of these birds. And at his command or what have you, he's opened their door and they're just beautifully flying out. And of course, the director is handling this movie, masterfully. 20 minutes into the movie. We've had a garage door a couple of times because it's opening and closing, and I owe you a movie quote. Ghost Dog is smiling, and we watch the pigeons fly in circles. An apartment window has a kid hanging out, throwing something to the ground. It's Louie and Vin. The kid is saying, "Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!" He answers back, "You little prick!" He said his mom is at work, he won't let us up, and now he's mad as hell. Louie, you got bigger problems. Louise never made it to the bus. I don't want to steer us all off cultural context or of the time moment, but there were just so many Italian-based 1950s New York neighborhood scenes in movies, if the whole movie wasn't already based on it. And this is Scorsese's world, this is post Goodfellas, just everybody's rushing to put those parts in their movie, and I'm not going to put that on Jim Jarmusch. I'm just saying that maybe this is out of the popularity. Of course, it's moving the narrative, and there's some comedy involved, but I just felt like there's probably a dozen other examples within arm's length from this movie. Just a sort of New York neighborhood vibe here. New York vibe here, and I'm still kind of thinking this could be a West Coast movie. A real shot of real SF city streets? I question. A couple guys dressed in red, like rappers from the late 80s, and they meet additional red-dressed friends outside a storefront or apartment. This is just background players or what have you, but I don't know if we're in the 80s or, like I said, is this 92? I don't know. I'm interested. Call me a hipster. Ghost Dog is coming out of the dusty, closed-up storefront from next door. They give props to Ghost Dog by name. He's leaving with a bag of bird feed and witnesses a young man attempt to pickpocket an older man who comes out of a slouch to kick perfectly at this young man, defeating and scaring him off. Does this impress Ghost Dog? Forrest Whitaker continues narration. Among the maxims on Lord Naoshig's wall, there was this one. Matters of great concern should be treated lightly. Master commented, matters of small concern should be treated seriously.
TMCMS says, a dog needs a place to sleep, something the size of a mat or cushion. For most dogs, if you bundle and make a cushion out of hay, you may attract hay mites. Now, hay mites attract termites, and if your walls have termites, well, your family will be thankful you built a doghouse out back. But watch for fleas, since if you are not concerned about the details of which pests and vermin hay attracts, you wouldn't notice the family dog has fleas.
Louis is being brought to the back of the house of the Chinese restaurant, where we had already seen Vargo and Sonny sitting with coffee. Let me set the table, because the way this scene is shot is very formatted and it's taking a presentation cue from David Lynch, and I celebrate that creatively. The table is warm blue with a warm, bright light. The coffee cups are all white. The influential in the center, Vargo, his espresso cup is the size and decorative like a Florida hotel. Also, in front of Vargo is a thick book with green binding and browned paper. He sits with a long forehead, a frowned horse face. He does not have gray hair. A gentleman sitting to his right, our left, is Sonny, who looks like Eric Roberts. He is not gray-haired. And behind them are varied colors of green and this same warm blue. Not quite cobalt. Green blue. Green blue. Blue is for doors. The center door is just behind Vargo, and since it is an aged door to a Chinese restaurant, there is a diamond-shaped utility window. A bright kitchen light is coming through, lighting the room. The diamond is centered above Vargo and cropped, blinkingly. Louis is squirming, lighting his cigarette. The girl, Mr. Vargo's daughter, got on the bus, and she got off the bus and went to Handsome Frank's. You wanted Handsome Frank whacked. He could have done her too. I mean, it could have been worse, Louis is saying. Vargo says, like Gruff the Crime Dog, Clint Eastwood on ADR, if he had, you would have been fucking dead. Sonny gets to the point. We need to take care of the killer who took care of Handsome Frank. He was one of us. I thought Ghost Dog was Louis' best guy. I didn't think Ghost or Louis was at fault. I thought this is what they wanted. Sonny continues to ask, demand of Louis, who says, Ghost Dog is valuable. He's done 12 perfect hits perfectly. He's valuable. He's untraceable. And from what I can see, he's a better man than Handsome Frank. But for some reason, because Louise saw him take him out, and Vargo wants his daughter, Sonny wants Ghost Dog. So tell us all you know, about this valuable, untraceable ghost. Louis goes on. He only wants paid on the first day of autumn. I'd pay him for the whole past year. Skipping that, we don't know where he lives, and ever since Louis started hiring him, he only communicates through messages. Sonny, did I just hear you say he contacts you through a board? An Actors Studio alum, Harry Silva, has a distinct, almost ventriloquist delivery. What kind of species is the board? Pigeon! Carrier pigeon! And the elderly gentleman sitting to Vargo's left has been silent until now. He absurdly speaks, almost as if he has a hearing impairment, or only has the energy for aggressive, toxic bursts. Passenger pigeon! Passenger pigeon! Been extinct since 1914! Freaky. Scary, this guy. Louis jumps back in his seat a little bit. He sounds like an inner perfectionist, alarming when some last bit is out of place or a statement is erroneous. And it's Sonny that asks, are we dreaming here or what? What does he look like? He's a big guy, a big black guy. Check your facts. And the asshole elderly guy says some racist shit. Louis continues, maybe I saw this guy 8 years ago and he was more of a kid. And we segue. A jarring scene of kids dressed in 1990s clothing. I like the amount of acid wash, but they are beating a young ghost dog up, and I cannot approve. And as the scene develops, he's more of like a 19-year-old kid with like a 19-year-old Ben Affleck. Louis has come from parking his car on the street. In this throwback, he confronts Affleck, ass prick, who points a pistol the size of Wayne Nolan's. Back to the present, Louis is watching his cigarette burn out. Ghost visited with a pigeon and said he owes him, and they made this arrangement. Sonny asks a solid question. He sends the bird to your house every day. Did he send it today? What was the message? Did you reply? Louis did not reply because he knew he was coming in to talk, and he's only received the usual mission accomplished. This guy is professional. If you go after him, it will take a lot of guys. He's a professional. Vargo asks a ridiculous question. Did you ever follow the bird? Put a bug on it? I'm laughing my ass off. Paging Pee-wee Herman. Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a call at the front desk. Louis never had any reason to. Is Louis secretly at fault for having Ghost kill Frank? That's what I'm asking myself, and it's in my head as I read my notes. Sonny says Frank was one of us, and Vargo and everybody else want this weirdo Ghost Dog killed. So wildly the tables have turned for Ghost Dog. Is it just me? Louis sounds like Louis taking care of a job, and now they want to... That part doesn't make sense to me. That Ghost did something that the mob wanted done, and now they want to get Ghost. They don't even want to kill Louis. It's very strange, and you can't dwell on that part, I guess. Ghost Dog doesn't look like he's spending his days worried about the mob's wrongdoings, nor does he look like he's spending his time studying how to help Louis. So I'm a little lost at who's at fault or who started the idea to get rid of Frank. Sonny says, Now better him than you, right, Louis? Now what the fuck is his name? Louis says, Ghost Dog. All caps when you say the man's name. These three guys debate the use of creative names like Snoop, Doggy Dog, Ice Cube, and Flava Flav. After hearing them use the N-word, I am not going to allow them to then sing Public Enemy lyrics, no matter how badass and righteous P.E. is. Things are tense for Louis. Sonny then calls for a few of his own wise guys, and with their own assigned creative nicknames, oblivious to his own non-consciousness, 30 minutes into the movie. You can find out those nicknames if you watch the movie. Ghost Dog is going through a routine, possibly meditating. He's on a rooftop near the bird coop. He has incense, a small shrine as tribute, and is breathing, focusing. With a Janet Jackson energy beat starting, Forrest Whitaker bounces up, bounds and swings his sword with such strength, power, stance, and style. This is remarkable. It reminds me that Kendrick Lamar was referencing Don Cheadle's character from Rush Hour on his tour years ago, and that character and Ghost Dog are similar. They study the practice of learning and devoting oneself to such an activity. They could go quite deep, and I'm sure if any given Kendrick song was patched into the background here, the vibe would be just the same. As we now live in a post-Kendrick Drake beef, we all must dive quite deeper into hip-hop to achieve a greater understanding. Abounding, slicing Forrest Whitaker. This is our smashing moment. Forrest Whitaker as Ghost Dog just looks natural at the same time. He's got some tension in his strength and his defense. He is broken in some ways. However, we are following along with ways he's healing. Devastation, perseverance, and self-implosion, we mostly see him balance. He's swinging, he's punching. There's an effect of a step blur. It might remind you of 70s action or martial arts movies, Also some graphic design of the era and music. But these are like stripes and bands coming off of him as he practices. And he's moving gracefully with style and freedom. And we watch this discipline. Not to cloud our watercolor, but he gets an almost athletic finish, adding to the mythic greatness. I exaggerate, but I could see Kevin Durant's movements on the court being samurai-like. An ice cream vendor is out at a park announcing with a horn, playing a childish tune. I've been having this interaction when I go to shoot hoops at my local park, and a authentic ice cream truck will roll in, except it's got some modern elements where it has some music that plays, and it doesn't seem like the driver, the operator, has any control over this music. It's like they hit the switch when they pulled into the parking lot, which seemingly would be nearest to the children and families that would purchase his ice cream. So the music starts and it just loops. So if you're like me and you're just shooting hoops and I just can't go anywhere and I have no interest in this person's ice cream, it just loops. And when it loops, there is also an automated voice that says, "Hello, hello." Hello. Hello. That was driving me bonkers while I was shooting some hoops peacefully and minding my own beeswax. So I just started shooting the hoops, and as I made the shots, I was saying bang, because that is an announcer. Mike Breen will say bang when somebody hits a shot. And with my new refreshed concentration, I was hitting consecutive shots. Not to brag here, but it was happening. And when the music kept coming around, I would be like, hello, bang! And then I would continue shooting. Hello, bang! Okay, I actually took a recording of that day as it happened. Ghost Dog is sitting across at the bench near the baseball diamond. He is eating an ice cream cone. Wow, a splurge. And he is able to keep an eye on a group of guys freestyling over Wu-Tang Raekwon's Ice Cream Man, only built for Cuban links. Scroll further for MCs involved. The MCs in blue are listed here: Dreddy Kruger, Timbo King, Clay Da Ryder, Dead and Stinking, Deflon Salar. Ghost mines his beeswax and feeds the pigeons. A dog has appeared, centered on Ghost. A child has appeared on the paired bench nearby. "Is that your dog?" the child asks. An innocent exchange happens. Ghost Dog thinks maybe the stray dog wants to eat his ice cream. After one more bite, he throws the ice cream in the trash can. Suicidal ice cream. There was nothing else in the basket. The child adds he could just tell the dog to go away, which he does, and she continues, saying she has seen him around. He does live on a roof of a shack where the birds fly out. Is this a prequel to Home Alone 2? You never talk to nobody, and you got no friends, she continues. I'm talking to you, right? She is shutting him down, saying, "Are you the person that lives on the roof with all the birds? You don't talk to anybody, you have no friends." And he says, "I'm talking to you, right?" So there's a lot of gossip in the neighborhood. Got your lunch in that lunchbox? I have my books. Wind in the Willows, Souls of Black Folks, and then Night Nurse. And I always think it's like he's got like, a book of wisdom and knowledge. He's got like sort of a traditional classic that also might play into meditation and knowledge. And then he's got night nurses, and it's almost like he's got one book of like pulp. And I don't know what's going on. She heads over following Ghost Dog. So yeah, I mean, like, her mom is calling, and she follows Ghost Dog to the ice cream. Ghost pulls out his copy of Rashomon and says she can borrow. She double checks that he has no friends. He is mentioning that his friend is the ice cream truck. The trio of new friends, including the ice cream truck man, are standing around a green minibus, a delivery-sized bus, obviously fitted to store and sell snacks and ice creams. The flavors listed are fraise, fruit, chocolat, pistachio, and vanille. No prices. She asks if Ghost Dog understands him. He is speaking French, and he does not understand him. With attitude, she questions their friendship. They are keeping a board of chess going, and I think Ice Cream Man advanced, just before Ghost Dog pays for the ice cream, sending Ice Cream Man into a loud ramble. He's already been sort of animated, speaking to Ghost Dog in French. He's a very animated character. I find him annoying because I don't understand French, and his delivery is almost a shouting tone. I don't care. I don't mind. I just find it annoying and can't act fast enough to translate. It sounds like it's a part of the character. I also noted he seems exaggerated and dramatic. C'est la vie, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. I just can't follow him fast enough, and he's animated to them playing the game of chess, and he's also just very friendly. I think he's basically giving him ice cream. It's also just very fantastic, where it doesn't matter who speaks what, and it doesn't matter if he pays for the ice cream. It almost seems. At the same time, this movie deals with real matters, and people are being murdered right in front of our face. Okay, meanwhile, the Italian mobsters are making their way to Ghost Dog's place. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. These shitheads are calling everyone racist things, skipping past their ignorance. We are back on Ghost Dog's rooftop place, and he must have a friend over. The mob sees a tall guy. He looks very much regular. He has long hair, and for story's sake, I guess he has a dark complexion, and we are seeing him from 40 feet away. He is a bird keeper, and his name is Cayuga. Jose Rebello, possibly boat builder. The mob doesn't shoot him. It's not authorized, and they want to get the right guy. They are saying all this out loud, lol. They shoot one pigeon. We get more dimension to the rooftop as we see the mobster leave irate. Cayuga calls them out for being stupids. There's pigeon shit everywhere. Were the mobsters at another reclusive man caring for a coop of birds? Later, I guess. C'est la vie. Ghost Dog is listening a CD from a boombox he made out of a drawer, some scrap wood, 2 decent speakers, and most likely a car stereo. So he's made this little entertainment center, this little boombox. He is welding. No, he is soldering. Forrest Whitaker narration voice. Soldering is the incorrect spelling of soldering. It is also how Americans and Canadians pronounce the word soldering. Soldering is a process of joining 2 or more metal components together by melting and flowing a filler metal known as a solder into the joint. Thank you, Ghost Dog. He was working with a circuit board, and he is also putting together a gun. The mob has made it to another rooftop, so I guess I'm confirming that there are other bird caretakers. Are these other samurais? Favorite character greeting. What's up, fellas? Possibly rooftop pigeon keeper, and the mob guys shoot this guy without any questions. And these mobsters are a couple of different mobsters. They get out of there. And although there's probably a large amount of bird shit, I would explain a more disappointing detail that the pigeon keeper was in the middle of laundry, because his rooftop hangout has more laundry flying around than birds. Ghost Dog is posted up against an urban red standard painted wall, an out-of-business storefront. Sonny rolls past in his regal car, vape smoke rolling out of his mouth. He's looking at Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog is looking right back at him. Ghost studies what he just saw and is seen thinking, maybe even looking up. Louis arrives and lights a cigarette against a sunny side of an abandoned building. A pigeon has flown nearby and almost greets him and flies away on cue. On cute? Ghost Dog. I follow a code. I always give you respect. Louis questions the large gun he has against his head. Ghost Dog says, "Forgive me, I don't mean any disrespect." "How did you find me here?" "We have a meeting. Things have gotten all turned around," Ghost Dog says. "Remember the girl that was at the hit the other night, Louise?" Ghost Dog remembers and says, "I wasn't instructed to take out no girl." Louis, "Things are complicated. They're going to whack you, Ghost Dog. What about the girl? Where is she?" "Don't worry about her. We cannot talk about that right now. They are coming after you, and then me." Ghost Dog, "Better you than me, Louis." And then another guy has just walked over from nowhere, like henchmen in 80s video games. Ghost does not hesitate and actually switches guns and takes out this would-be killer. Louis is skeptical. Ghost assures him by showing that the henchman had a gun, and they both know they are now in danger. There is not explanation for killing this guy. He was someone's nephew. I couldn't make out the line. I couldn't hear some of their lines, but they're in this cool, scenic, sort of abandoned industrial space. It almost reminds me of if they were shooting this movie in parts of Detroit. And I don't mean that as a disrespect. It's a really beautiful, empty lot. And they used their sort of corner nicely. And they had this like would-be assassin lurking and making his way to their small space of this real set. You know what I mean? It's interesting. I like that stuff. Back to Louis. "You better shoot me too now." And Ghost shoots him in the shoulder because Louis told him to. Now he can say both guys were attacked by Ghost. Ghost then puts his gun away as if it is a samurai sword. Louis, "You better watch your back, Ghost Dog. Like you said, everything seems to be changing around us. It's 99, major city. Is this a reference to gentrification and the obliviousness of culture? Everything is changing around us and we are just really circling an urban stage?" At his friend's ice cream truck, Ghost eats an ice cream and makes a move on the chess set. So does his friend, and seems to be winning. 55 minutes into the movie. They walk together, French being said aloud, walking all the way to a rooftop, and with ice cream they laugh and wonder at a rooftop shipbuilder. "Comment allez-vous?" He returns by saying, "Long live good work." Ghost returns to his rooftop and is cautious with a gun out. His coop has been smashed and birds are left dead, laying all around. Wherever he sleeps, he also has a dead pigeon on his bed. He has a secret storage near his toilet. He pulls up a square panel for a key. He unlocks a larger panel that opens like a John Wick's cupboard. Ghost Dog has a case. He goes to a workshop table, clears the rubbish. I think if this was like, I don't know, family-friendly, kid-friendly 80s movie or 90s movie, this would be like a changing up my attitude montage. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. "One should make his decisions within the space of 7 breaths. It is a matter of being determined and having the spirit to break right through to the other side. 7 breaths? A ghost dog hack? Wow, I am taking this advice. I am really going to look into this. The case holds a gun, and besides his words, we see Ghost putting together his guns. I don't like this kind of stuff. Who's with me? A speckled pigeon has flown into the room onto the desk. A beat that reminds me of Real Love from Mary J. Blige is playing, and a beautiful view of the night sky with a darkened, faded moon into dark blues of the night. A bird soars. The streets below minimized to geometric shapes and signs. I see bicycle wheels and street lamps. A hard, thrusting beat plays, and we follow Ghost Dog with his case along a cemetery gate. Over the city in a pigeon gaze. Following him, walking past a stone brook sidewalk. Pigeon gaze continues. Felix the Cat cartoon also walks on by, and the frame turns into TV, as the big boss Vargo now is fixed on a cartoon. The mustached cartoon villain on TV says, "I can turn diamonds into jelly beans, and I am happy. No, I am frustrated. I feel you, 100%. Oh, Vargo is also reading a book. The villain continues, Felix and his bag of tricks. It's magic. And a really great cartoon and voice makes a canoe and really frustrates this old man. A knock at the door and we see 360 degrees around the room. And it's a back room filled with other aged, waxy-haired mobsters. Sonny greets the guy at the door. 1 hour into the movie. And Vargo is just another 90s villain cliche of cartoon fixated. I'm not this grumpy. I'm just surprised to see so many similarities to movies out during the same time. Felix gets electroshocked and says, "It tickles." A lot of similarities. I'm on the case. Lots of similarities. I'm on the case. The man at the door is some kind of out-of-the-loop landlord. He looks 1980s typical, a guy who might be a Mets fan. Of course, his hair is dark, and he's got a dark mustache. He wants to get paid tomorrow. They are late on 3 months of rent. Is this the Chinese restaurant landlord? Before leaving, he asks, with squinty eyes, 3 months rent? What kind of operation are you running here anyway? Dust. We're running a dust operation. I kind of like that character because he's coming from his own world, and we know the life of a landlord. He is there to collect rent. And these guys are running a dirty operation, but it's also slightly comical because you think that they're on top of things. And if you have any experience with mobster movies, and if you just shovel in that this movie may have some popularity due to the popularity of Goodfellas and things like that, you do have some education on how these characters could operate, and that they could be running professional, but they have this slacker, realistic human side. We keep making all this money and beating people's faces in, but we're not paying the rent. And they don't even seem agitated or like, we're going to get that guy. It is like, we just forgot, as if they're like mobster teenagers, which in reality, immaturity like this is teenage. Sonny takes it on his chin, takes a puff of a cigar, and looks around the room. Nobody's doing nothing. And he eyes Louie, and Louie eyes him. He's back from the hospital. He's got a sling on his arm. Sonny does think his story is solid, and orders 2 guys to grab cars. When they open the doors, a pigeon flies in. They chase it around the room, and the message reads, "If, not when, if a samurai were to be suddenly cut off, he would be able to perform one more action with certainty." What the fuck, I ask? It's poetry of war. Forrest Whitaker continues narration with clarity. Even if, not even when, even if a samurai's head were to be suddenly cut off, he should be able to perform one more action with certainty. If one becomes like a revengeful ghost and shows great determination, though his head is cut off, he should not die. TMCMS continues with narration. Ghosts come in all sizes and colors, however shapes seem to be the same. A form, a shape of a gingerbread man? This may seem typical at first, as it is difficult to find ghost in the right size. Gingerbread mirrors are for gingerbread men, not ghosts, honey. A blues beat comes in and he walks under a bridge. He sprays a lock holding a chain. He hammers that and opens the gate. Ghost gets into a car. He's got a CD for the CD player, and it's got an island vibe, which is a steep contrast to the beat scored in his commute. A guy in a business suit is drunkenly trying to unlock his car door. Another business suit is taking a gal to an alley, and Ghost Dog pulls up, points his gun, saying, "Excuse me," and backing out with a handful of clothing, he gets back into the car, and the two drunk lovebirds cautiously walk out, half naked. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. It is good to carry some powdered rouge in one's sleeve. It may happen that when one is sobering up or waking from sleep, a samurai's complexion may be poor. At such a time, it is good to take out and apply some powdered rouge. TMCMS. Catching a dog can be a frustrating stage of your life. Moving past challenges that may seem like barriers to you now is key to restoring happiness. Once the appropriate dog is caught, be sure to befriend them immediately. He has parked a Mercedes and walked into a restaurant or a rest stop restroom, assuming using the restroom to dress in this fitting blue suit. There is a park picnic table nearby and a family sitting. Is this Dick Miller's family from Motorama? Is this before he takes off without him? Or have they been reunited as a family and continue to eat as a family in parks along Route 66? If you don't know about Motorama, be sure to check out a past episode from the TMCMS podcast. Ghost Dog switches his license plate for the car parked next to him. He does this fast with a screwdriver designed to manually wind the screw. Awesome to see used. I never looked for a product like this, and in our times of YouTube tutorials and a Magnolia cultural monopoly on house flopping, I am tricked that he is breaking the law while I am interested in the tools he's using. I'm just laughing at some of these criminal tools. Like, oh, he's getting buried in cement. Look how they mixed that. I think I've seen that machine at Walgreens near the shoe cushion. Ghost drives out. He is dressed in his midnight blue suit. He is surrounded by forest coverage, aiming his gun at the boss Vargo's henchmen and car windows. A woodpecker is distracting enough. He aims on the bird. With Louise, his daughter. Now they are watching a woodpecker cartoon with a smoking ghost, laughing like a villain. The ghostly laughter imitates laughter. The limo TV is turned off. Louise sits in silence with his daughter. Louise looks like Christina Ricci in the limo lighting with dark bangs and a dark bob. Ghost Dog remains aiming in the forest. Vargo has pulled up and gets out and raises his hands like an idiot. Ghost has the shot, and our frame goes blank. A fat bird has flown and sat onto the barrel, stopping Ghost Dog, who is now grinning. He has aim immediately back up, and we get a target graphic on the screen. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. When one has made a decision to kill a person, even if it will be very difficult to succeed by advancing straight ahead, it will not do to think about going at it in a long, roundabout way. The way of the samurai is one of immediacy, and it is best to dash in headlong. An Al Green or Isley Brothers track plays, and is calming, although caution ahead. Trigger, trigger, warning, trigger, trigger, warning, trigger, trigger, warning, warning. Jack Burton, disguised at the bordello, Harrison Ford as his character, Deckard, disguising his voice, interviewing the snake replicant dancer, the replicant in Blade Runner, or again disguising his voice as Han Solo, hoping to trick and stall for time in Star Wars New Hope. I'm painting the picture of Ghost Dog is now in his disguise, just as Kurt Russell and Harrison Ford have done it in cult classic, movie club movie classics before this. Big Trouble in Little China, Blade Runner, and Star Wars New Hope. Hello, I'm Bob Solo, Han Solo, Ghost Dog as Mr. Solo. I'm with West Side Realty. I have an appointment with Mr. Vargo. This is suave Forrest Whitaker filling in his average guy routine, Kurt Russell or Harrison Ford. How did you get in the gate? One mob guy goes inside to check, and another stays with Mr. Solo at his car. Hey, why don't I give you my card? Poof, car door to the knees and then punches low. He points his gun and blasts both of the nearest guards, moves inside the house where it is just geriatrics, elderly Italian mob bosses. The first guy was on the floor for some reason. He gets another less colorful slow-mo effect and takes out all these old guys on his way to the upper room, where Louise is watching another bad cartoon, with the old guy sitting next to Vargo at this coffee table. And the elderly shouting guy gets up to shout and has a heart attack. It's the bucking Birdman! He dies! He's out! Vargo gets up and buttons his suit. He does not do a wicked kung fu stance and defend himself. He buttons up, says he's been expecting you, and gets shot. He slides down in his chair. I thought maybe Louise, but Ghost Dog shoots him, and then misses that Louise is again in the room and swings around to point his gun at her. Louise, you again? You borrowed my book. No response. He leaves. He shoots a few guys shifting rooms, and Louis comes in the door with his sling still on, and gets shot in the exact same place. That's how good Ghost Dog is, okay? No disrespect, I don't want to shoot you in two places. I think he says we're settled and puts the gun back in his holster with a samurai swing. It's Louis' buddy Vin that is still alive, calling out for him somewhere in the background. He's driving down a road and sees two hunters in camouflage with a dead bear next to their pickup truck. Everyone is staring. These two guys are racist and say it in their explanation of killing the bear, which is endangered and not bear season, Ghost continues. In some ancient cultures, the bear is equal to human. Shithead says, "This ain't no ancient culture." Ghost replies, "Sometimes it is." The screen goes to black. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. Our bodies are given life from the myths of nothingness, existing where there is nothing in the meaning of the phrase, form is emptiness. That all things are provided for by nothingness is the meaning of the phrase, emptiness is form. One should not think that these are two separate things. The Movie Club Movies podcast adds, naming a ghost can be challenging. Some have an easy tip. Name your ghost similar to your name. If your name is Kate, you may choose a name like Karate or Separate. Louis is in the back seat of Louise's car with Vin bleeding in the passenger seat. Passenger side! Louis is in the back seat of Louise's car, with Vin bleeding in the passenger side. Louise is watching Simpsons cartoon, and specifically an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon, which is referencing Felix and probably everything we've seen already. But for the kids, it's like that this is mentioning history of creative things and creators. 1 hour and 20 minutes into the movie. Vin is passing out saying he misses the old way, going out like a real fucking gangster. Hang on, Vin. Down an autumn-lined road in who knows where, a patrol car catches Louis speeding. Fucking 5-0. The officer is kind of putting on a similar tone to Louis. It's funny, she's a good casting because she seems like a genuine officer. Her delivery is just a bit soft on screen. And when she, the officer, comes around to Vin's side of the car, passenger side, Vin shoots her. Let's get the fuck out of here. Louise looks worried. Are the doors locked? Louis says, hey Vin, you just shot a woman. And Vin calls him a male chauvinist, which he explains because she's a cop, not a woman. Equal. Nightmare Friends episodes. Vin dies. Louis is distraught. He can hardly drive. Louise has seen too much death. I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. Announcements in French and a warped Ice Cream Man theme plays. Ghost's friend greets him and is happy to see him. He may have mentioned the child that visited. She has a book bag or something. Anyways, Ghost offers the blue suit, saying he can have it altered or give it to a friend. LOL. Forrest Whitaker as Ghost Dog shot up 2 or 3 places, with old mafia men flying around getting shot, and he's keeping the suit. I am underestimating dry cleaners, or Ghost Dog's laundry technique. It is a good-looking suit, great color. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. There is surely nothing other than the single purpose of the present moment. A man's, anybody's, whole life is a succession of moment after moment. If one fully understands the present moment, there will be nothing else to do, and nothing else to pursue. TMCMS. When jogging at night with a dog, be sure to wear reflective clothing. Reflective cords, strips, or bandages. If you glow at night, ditch the reflective clothing. Bring the leash. Walk more than one dog, and glow king glow. The neighbors have known of your kinks for years. Walking through the streets, he is again met with a statuesque dog, this time perched like a bird on a wooden crate, on a loading shelf indented in the city wall, a brick wall with a loading space. The dog is just staring. A hypnotic barrage of cymbals and other glass-like percussions sound off in calming tones, but Ghost Dog continues walking the streets. I am unfamiliar. His pace seems determined rather than cautious, and I feel like I've been walking for hours. Let's get some whiz burgers. Tone the tones. Ghost Dog sees a young woman hustling into a corner store. Is this for a lighter? A pack of smokes? Oh, she leaves her convertible red Jaguar running, and Ghost Dog, being the classy assassin he is, hops in, Felix magic bag and all. He drives off wearing white latex gloves. A smoky local blonde runs out bow-legged, holding grocery bag, and says,
Holy shit, the Jaguar!
She runs back in to car the cops. Ghost puts another CD in the stereo. He's heading to kill Sonny, the guy who looks like Eric Roberts. He wasn't at Vargo's place, and remember the landlord? Is he still looking for this shithead also? We got a taxi driver view of his city. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. There is something to be learned from a rainstorm. When meeting with a sudden shower, you try not to get wet and run quickly along the road. By doing such things as passing under the leaves of your house, you still get wet. And you are resolved from the beginning You will not be perplexed, though you will still get the same soaking. This understanding extends to all things. TMCMS Special Insight continues. Ghosts make great pets. However, you cannot walk a ghost, and you cannot clean a ghost. They knock over bookshelves when they are happy to see you, and OD on drugs when they need to mark their territory. The rain is pouring. The horn from the CD is wailing and wavering under the night sky and pressing task. He parks outside a strikingly hip house and heads towards the side window. It's a tri-level up from the garage. He sees a henchman watching cartoons, arms folded, content. Ghost backs away from the window, cuts through the cable. The TV hits to fuzz, and this is the nicest, biggest TV we have seen the entire movie. He relocates outside the residence. The garage door is partially closed onto the hood of the Regal car. We get a bright look at Sonny's bathroom, clean, spacious, and a beat drops. And in struts Sonny. Cold Lampin' with Flavor, a Public Enemy song showcasing Flavor Flav, Sonny's favorite rapper, is playing on his personal stereo. And again, these guys turn me off their late 90s independent cinema hipness. I am not turned on or enriched by this rich old man, limp dick dancing. To PE, the least danceable hip-hop group. Just kidding. Shout out to Rosie Perez, which this man is not. This dude is reciting lyrics while applying baby powder to his ass crack. Ghost Dog has helped himself to tools and supplies in the garage and made his way to the plumbing below the house. He undoes a main pipe and places his glowing red laser sight attached to his assassin's pistol under the pipe opening, and that immediately is shining out of the sink Sonny is powdering his racist ass at. He looks down, he sees the light, and Ghost Dog fires, on point, on target, in Sonny's bathroom. Forrest Whitaker continues narration. It is said that what is called the spirit of an age is something to which one cannot return, that this spirit gradually dissipates and is due to the world's coming to an end. For this reason, although one would like to change today's world back to the spirit of 100 years or more ago, it cannot be done. Thus, it is important to make the best out of every generation. That's wise. I'm going to follow it up with a joke from the TMCMS Joke Factory. Dogs love to run in fields of grass. Cats enjoy waking you with a face full of ass. A great hollowed out boom bap beat hits, and as Ghost Dog is walking against a colorful and patchy city brick wall, Riza, dressed in camouflage, a fellow samurai, walks towards. Ghost Dog, power, equality. See everything. Ghost sees his ice cream friend. He looks worried. I think he explains how the child might be in trouble, or is this about Louie and Louise? Ghost notices his gun and has already been dumping out bullets and arranging his case with the money he was holding, and putting the book he borrowed into his pocket. He takes the key from his neck and locks the case. He gives his friend the key on his neck and assures him everything will be all right. Everything happens for a reason. He mentions Louie, the guy with his arm in a sling, helped him out, and we see the throwback again. And street punk Ben Affleck is about to shoot young Ghost Dog, and Louie shoots the guy first. A samurai should always take care of his boss. He and I are from different ancient tribes, and now we are both almost extinct. like that bear. Sometimes you gotta stick with the ancient ways, old school ways. I am wondering if Ice Cream Man is wondering that Ghost Dog is locked into a dangerous influence and has chances to leave, but has just learned he's embedded. It's embedded, and he won't leave, and could be an unintentionally dangerous man. Like, this is his friend, and isn't he noticing that his friend has dangerous habits and routines? Their young friend is at the order window.
Is anyone home?
She has read the book Rochon and enjoyed the same story as Ghost. He's glad. He exchanges with, I think, The Way of the Samurai. He says he enjoyed it, and to take her time reading it. He hears his name in the street. It's Louis. What is this, Louis? The final shootout? Yeah, well, it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. You have to avenge the death of your bosses. Well, okay then. And Louis shoots Ghost 2 times. Louis shoots a 3rd time. Ghost keeps walking. This shootout for me is not holding up. It's upsetting. Louis as a character, or as an actor, is not as sturdy as Ghost Dog, not to mention he has been reshot in his previous wound. He would be woozy, exhausted, feeling ill, and unable to function sharp enough to challenge somebody else's body, to anything. It would be an uncertain struggle. And this is Ghost Dog we're talking about. He's untouched at this moment. He would only be exhausted from these tasks of shooting people. But it seems like what we know of Ghost Dog is that he keeps a certain pace, and he knows how to keep himself healthy, at least for these moments of his life. And we haven't really seen him struggle. We see Louis as an Italian mob zombie, taking our hero out, stumbling. Ghost Dog falls to the ground. He gives Louis the book he borrowed from Louise. Promise me you will read it. Ice Cream Man is pissed. There was isolated chaos for a few minutes for about 4 people here on this street. Sydney has Ghost's gun. He discarded when he was shot. She takes aim and damn near has Louis in her target. The gun is unloaded. This is the young child that was hanging around with Ice Cream Man and Ghost Dog. Sydney is sitting on the floor in the kitchen reading Way of the Samurai, and it looks as if she's 75% finished. Sydney continues narration. In the Kamigata area, they have a sort of tiered lunchbox they use for a single day when flower viewing. Upon returning, they throw them away, trampling them underfoot. The end is important in all things. TMCMS adds, ghosts are only in your residence because it's the last place they have been. Allow them to borrow a vehicle, to make money on the side, and get out, possibly meeting others. This will help support a healthy social life for the ghost and open the possibilities of moving out. This is the end of the movie. I hope I didn't clutter it with my jokes, but we didn't get the young gal's name, but they fill us in here that her name is Sydney, and at the very end, Louis is in a bad place, and he is taking out our hero, Ghost Dog, as he stumbles and dies to the ground himself. Ghost Dog, unfortunately, is taken out by these shots, but has dropped his own gun, and Sydney, like I mentioned, has picked it up and had Louis in her sights and cannot take the shot because there's no more bullets. And this is obviously like very incredibly poetic because this is a young child. You wouldn't want them taking people out and stuff. So it's a very nice cap to, I don't know, a micro moment in this movie. I just don't like that Louis is taking Ghost Dog out. And this is how that movie ends. Some final thoughts in conclusion. Movie Club Movies friend Will was one of several folks to suggest doing this movie over the years. And Will added to this movie 2 friends that speak different languages, but have a mutual understanding of friendship. I think with the exception of Louis, although I think deeply he and Ghost have an understanding of misguided follow-throughs, Sydney, Ice Cream Man, fall into this. I think like who Ghost is ultimately communicating with, I get it, and Will made an incredible point. I had never even fully seen this movie when Will mentioned that to me. But two friends that speak different languages but have a mutual understanding and friendship is Ghost, is Ice Cream Man, and is Sydney. And maybe all three of those in their neighborhood speak a different language than the mobsters in their neighborhood, so to describe. In closing, I am aware that this movie is written and based off of existing ancient folklore content, timeless and dense. I am also aware that these stories and references are also contained in works prior to the movie's release and around the time of the movie's release, like I talked about with Goodfellas and stuff like that. Such as the work RZA and Wu-Tang were releasing. Also, I am aware that there are many works and references to comics, graphic novels, and art that will provide support and insight into the characters and storyline depicted in Ghost Dog. I am basically running through a movie and I am watching for the first time again since I was like, 19 or 20 years old. I took the time to write about what I was experiencing, and we all just experienced this together. I am motivated, however, resourced what I could with the time I had to produce this entire episode. I do encourage, and I am hopeful, you will look into the deepest of references here because I'm sure they will be rewarding. Please be kind. Please rewind.